everyone. Welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. So, yes, I see you guys in the chat. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you as well. I'm actually in Mexico, the birthplace of Cinco de Mayo, and they celebrate it very, very differently out here. That's what I discovered. I was like, Cinco de Mayo. They're like, no, it's just a military holiday here. I'm like, oh, it's more fun in the US. Anyway, anyway, welcome everyone. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the channel Wisdom Circle. We are here. We are live. We are Red Tay. So we are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Thumbstack and Substack. And so if you are new, please like, subscribe, follow whatever it is on the platform you are on. Help the algorithms. Let them know that we're giving the people the good information, the good motivation, and the good spiritual awakening. Okay. All right, guys. So as you know, today and every day on the channel Wisdom Circle, I channel the cosmic collective consciousness and they give you whatever message they have for you. And I never know what they're going to say until I never know what I'm going to say until it comes out of my mouth. So I'm just channeling. All right. So we're just going to hit it. All right. Is everyone ready? All right. So today they want to talk to you about anxiety. Okay. Anxiety. So there's a lot of anxiety going on right now. And some of you, and everything, every time, uh, in every channel Wisdom Circle, they're all whatever they say is something that you guys need to hear. It has to do with the people that are actually watching right now, people that are watching in the future, because they know everything. They know what's popping, what's going on, what's going on inside of you. Hey RW, what's going on? All right. So with anxiety, they want to talk about anxiety today, because this is something that people need right now, and that all of you need right now is this talk about anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety going on right now, and I want to talk about anxiety just by itself, what anxiety really is. We all know, well, hopefully you know that all anxiety is fear-based. Okay, maybe some of you don't know that, especially some of you who are new. Anxiety is always fear-based, and fear is always a lie. Know that. Okay, we're gonna top that off. Message. Okay, so fear is always a lie. Fear is always about something in the future that hasn't happened yet, that you are projecting. Okay, you are projecting your fears into the future. Now, what does fear do and anxiety together? But we're going to just talk about fear for a second, since that's really what anxiety is based off of. Fear stops us. Fear is there. Fear is it poses a risk. We'll say that because hopefully it doesn't stop you, and we've talked about that, pushing past fear. But fear stops us, and what we see for most people, like I said, for what we see in the future, what we are afraid of happening in the future, what we're afraid of us not being able to do, what we're afraid of some monster in the closet in the future, right? We're afraid of these things, and we see storms coming in the future, and we see negativity, and we're afraid of our ability, or our perceived lack of ability to handle it, or what that means. That's going to create a negative circumstance. It's going to create something bad, and that fear stops us from moving forward. And it really couples on yesterday's talk, which was about being able to just move and push past things and start taking action, and not be so stuck in decision paralysis with your choices. Well, anxiety is a big part of that as well. Anxiety is a big part of us not being able to move. So some people actually have, we're going to talk about a lot today. They're feeding me a lot of information right now. We're going to talk about a lot today regarding anxiety, different aspects of that anxiety. But anxiety is also, some people have chronic anxiety where they are always anxious, and that is a nervous system wiring. Okay, that is a nervous system wiring that comes from many things. It's still rooted in fear, but that fear can be from this lifetime. It could be from a past lifetime. That fear could be ancestral. That fear can also be collective fear that we're having. And let's talk about that for a second, because that's a big thing right now with everything that's going on in the world. There's a lot of great things going on in the world, but if you choose to focus on the negative things that are going on, there's plenty of that as well, right? There's plenty of crazy things going on in the world. If we choose to focus on that, we tap into that collective fear that is already there. That is what the news cycles try to get you to do. They know, okay, they know what's going to get you going. They know to make you fearful. That's why all the headlines look like the end of the world is this is the end of the world, right? That's why all the headlines look like that, because they know fear is going to capture your attention. Okay? They're playing on that. So when you're looking at these news cycles, you're reading these social media posts about whatever it is, right? There's a lot going on. If you choose to focus on that, if that's what you're, by the way, let me say this, okay? Side note, if that's what your algorithm looks like, that means that's what you're focusing on because we know the algorithms are going to give you more of what you keep looking at. Okay. So, message on that. Okay. Message. So, if that's what your algorithm looks like, that should tell you something. Show the algorithm something else. Show that you want to see positivity. Show that you want to see good news versus bad news. That doesn't mean ignore what's going on. That's not what that means, but that means you have a choice of what you yes, that's what Alita said, unsubscribe. You have a choice of what you absorb into your biosphere, into your biofield, into your mind, into your soul, into your heart, into your aura, all of those things. You have a choice. And so you can choose to focus on the negativity. And when you tap into that negativity, when you are focused on that, you are tapping into that collective fear. And especially if you're an empath, okay, if you are empathic, then you will absorb that even more than the average person. Because what is an empath? An empath, first of all, empathic ability is a psychic ability. It is a gift, not a curse. There's a whole class on that on at Mystic University. So go there. And if you feel like being an empath is a curse and it's something you have to deal with, please go to Mystic University and take that class because that will change your life. I'm also an empath. I'm actually an extreme empath, and I am not negatively affected by being an empath. It's a gift, not a curse. But you have to understand how to use it. You have to understand what it really is and what the benefits of it are and how you can actually wield it as a powerful tool because you can. That's what it's there for. But if you are an empath and you tap into that collective fear, you're going to absorb it even more because an empath has what I call an over absorbent aura. It's like a bounty paper towel versus a regular paper towel. For those of you who remember those bounty commercials, I don't know if they still have them. I'm aging myself. But anyway, it's an over absorbent aura. Okay. Meaning that your aura absorbs everything way more than the average person. So if you are absorbing everything, if you tap into that collective field of negativity and of anxiety, you're going to absorb it. And what's going to happen when you absorb it? It gets absorbed into your energy system. And then collective anxiety can feel like your own anxiety. And you're wondering why you have this uneasy feeling every day and you don't know what it is, but there's nothing actually going wrong in your life. Everything's actually good, but you have this underlying feeling of anxiety. A lot of times it's because you're tapping into that collective fear, that collective anxiety, and it's infiltrated into your energy system. And now your energy system is coded for that. That's dangerous. Why is that dangerous? Because if you allow that to fester, that can then become a pattern within your nervous system. And then you can start developing an anxiety disorder, anxiety issue, whatever you want to call it, but chronic anxiety. Okay. So for those of you who have chronic anxiety, and that's a very, very widespread issue, as a healer, that is one of the top things that people have issues with. Okay. Anxiety, chronic anxiety. And it doesn't, anxiety, by the way, anxiety does not look like sitting crunched over in a corner crying. Okay. Anxiety can definitely look like that, but anxiety doesn't always look like that. Know that your anxiety could simply be nervousness, always doing this, right? That's anxiety. That's your body trying to let go of that fight or flight energy. It's trying to move action, take action. It's trying to be constantly fidgeting and moving. That is also what anxiety looks like. And a lot of people don't think of it like that. They think, well, I'm just always, I'm just very antsy or whatever. That's anxiety. There's anxiety going on. And what is anxiety itself? It is an energy that is activated within the body for fight or flight. It is your fight or flight response system. It is your sympathetic nervous system activated. That's what anxiety is. Okay. But it's rooted in a lot of things. It's rooted in a lot of things. And I am a proponent of getting rid of something versus having to cope with something. So I want to clarify those two things. Getting rid of anxiety is getting rid of that pattern and your body's ability to even get into that mode, especially on a constant basis. Coping is band-aids. So that is finding techniques that help you with your anxiety while it's coming, and that's it. But you're not getting rid of the problem, therefore you have to keep coping. I'm against coping. I am for getting rid of the root of the problem so that you don't have to cope. Okay. Now, when I say that, I also want to be clear that when you have anxiety, and you get rid of the root problem, that doesn't mean you'll never feel anxious ever again. Okay, because there's certain things that create that pattern within us, or activate that within us in the moment. So yes, you should also have techniques to deal with it when it comes, if it comes, but it should not be coming very often if you have gotten to the root of the issues. So one of the things that's really important for you to do, if you are one of these people that has anxiety or is feeling that collective anxiety right now, you need to tune within. Remember, you have all the answers inside of you. You need to tune within and discover the source. Is the source ancestral? That's in your cells, because we definitely have a lot of anxiety, and triggers and things like that. We talked about buttons and triggers before, right? We want to get rid of them, but we do have that in our cells because we have cellular memory. Everything that your ancestors have gone through, good and bad, is in your cells. That is in your cellular memory. Okay, everything your soul has gone through, good and bad. Okay, that it has not healed from, right? From past lifetimes, is also in your soul's DNA. Okay, and so these things can definitely affect you in this life. So it's very important for you to tap in and discover the root. Once you discover the root, then you work to get rid of it, and there are many, many ways to get rid of it. Like I always tell you guys, shamanic journeying is great. Hypnosis is phenomenal. Meditation takes more time, but it works as well for getting rid of that, discovering that. But energy work is necessary because you can't talk it away. You can't talk it away. I am not against therapy. I am not against talk therapy. It has its place, but it is not enough to get rid of the root of the problem, which is energy. The root of the problem is always energy, and you can't talk that away. That, especially when it's deeply rooted. Because if it's a problem to begin with, then it's deeply rooted. Okay. If it's just, oh, I feel anxious every once in a while, that's not necessarily a problem. If you're anxious all the time, and especially if you have a period of time where you're not able to control that anxiety, and it's affecting you, it's stopping you, it's causing you. People have things called anxiety freeze. That is when you literally can't do anything, and that is decision paralysis as well, but you literally can't do anything because of the anxiety. It's just you freeze, and that is a problem, and that happens a lot with people. But I also want to mention, for in diving into your energy system and understanding what the root cause is of your fear, of your anxiety. We have you guys know, I tell you guys about this all the time. We have a program called the Pathways to Divine Consciousness and Fulfillment, and that is a partnership between Mystic University and Mystic Temple, and it is an amazing program. It is an ongoing program to help you reach higher levels of consciousness. There's also what's called a fear architecture framework in the in that program that I teach, and that also was downloaded and channeled from the Cosmic Collective Consciousness. But that fear architecture will really help you understand your fear and tell you what to do about it, because we're all different. We're all different, and so it's really important to be introspective. We do all kinds of very, very powerful things in that program. So definitely check it out, join. And Yeah, it's amazing. I can't say it enough how amazing it is. You're missing out if you're not in it. All right. So, but there's a fear architecture framework in there, and that fear architecture will explain to you and be able to determine where that fear is, what's going on, and then how to correct it. So that's definitely a tool as well to use. But however you do it, you need to go within, and you need to uproot it, get rid of it, so that it's not a constant problem. Because one thing that anxiety does is it takes you away from yourself. It takes you away from your divinity. I will say that very clearly. Anxiety takes you away from your divinity. Why? Because it is rooted in fear. And fear takes you away from your divinity. Why? Because there's nothing to fear. If you really understand your divinity and you really understand your power, then you know that there's never anything to fear, because you can trust yourself. Fear is also rooted in a lack of self-trust, which I always tell you guys. So if you trust yourself, then there's nothing to fear. It doesn't matter what's going on. You got this. Like that's just what it is, right? So if you are feeling anxious, if you and you're allowing that to fester. So this isn't sorry, they're giving me a lot right now, so I'm kind of jumping all over the place because they're giving me a lot of information at once, and I'm trying to just speak it all. So it's important to understand that that doesn't mean that you should be ashamed if you feel fearful. Okay, we're not pushing shame. That's not what we do here at Mystic University. I mean, not what we do here at Mystic Temple. We don't push fear and we don't push shame about fear either. Okay, if you feel fearful, that's human. Okay, part of our anatomy, part of our energetic anatomy as well, and that's completely normal. But does that mean we have to allow it to continue? No. So once you recognize that you're feeling fear, once you recognize that you're feeling anxious, and that's actually stopping you, because you can feel fear and move past it, right? But if it's stopping you, if you're having anxiety and it's creating a problem in your life, you're feeling uneasy, you're not feeling on your game, okay, then you are becoming more disconnected with yourself. That's a fact. And it doesn't matter how you shake it, doesn't matter why you're feeling anxious, but no matter what the reason is, the anxiety itself, that fear itself separates you from yourself. It brings you away from your divinity. It brings you away from your higher self and your power. It starts to put you more and more in a place of powerlessness and a place of victimhood, and not recognizing that no matter what's going on, I got this. And that's what I need you guys to understand. So it's important that you focus on the light, not the darkness. Again, you have a choice of what you want to be focused on right now. There's always amazing things going on in the world, and there's also always some not so amazing things going on in the world. That's just a fact. That's the way the world works. So knowing that, focus on the light, but not just focus on the light. And like I said, we're not talking about just ignoring things, but what we are talking about is where we want to focus our attention, because where you want to focus your attention is what ends up dictating and determining your reality that you lived, your lived experience. Your lived experience is shaped around your perception. Your perception is shaped around what you're focusing on. And we know the power of the mind and the power of focus. We also know the observer, excuse me, the observer effect in quantum physics. And some of you who want to learn more about that, go to Mystic University. But the more we pay attention to something, the more that reality has the ability, has because the future is made up of nothing but possibilities. What ends up happening is based on our choices and what we choose to focus on, and our actions, right? So nothing is, like I was saying yesterday, the future is never set in stone. We have the ability to shape that. So if you are afraid of the future because you're afraid of the unknown, like we were talking about yesterday, it's important that you go back to self and stay in the present moment, because all you have is now. You don't have the future, because in this illusionary linear timeline, because time is not really linear, but in this illusionary linear timeline, the future did not happen yet. So focus on the now, because now shapes the future. And know that that future, whatever comes in the future based on your choices now and your actions or inactions now, you can always pivot, like we were talking about yesterday. Just because you're starting to move down a road doesn't mean you have to keep moving down that road. If you get a boulder in your path, you can move the boulder. You can blow it up, whatever you need to do to still keep going down that path, or pivot and go in a different direction, whatever you need to do. We are creatures of adaptation. And that adaptation is important because that helps us maneuver through life. And trust yourself. You need to trust yourself to be able to maneuver through life, because that's what it's about. So going back to the concept of understanding that anxiety actually brings you further away from your divinity, it's important to understand when you are feeling anxious, that disconnection from your divinity again starts to put you in a state of powerlessness. The more powerless you get, the further away from your divinity and your actual power you are, because powerlessness is a lie. Okay, message: powerlessness is a lie. There is no truth in that at all. Helplessness is a lie. There's no truth in that at all. So when you're looking at your life, I need you to take it by the reins. I need you to know your power and know that you are shaping your future, nothing else. And there's nothing ever to fear about that future. Okay. Okay, I see you guys. I'm looking at the chat, but there is nothing to fear about your future. There's nothing to fear about anything else that that is going on. Focus on the now. If you focus on the now, then you can focus on the light because there's always light in the now. Where is there darkness? Unless there's a lion coming after you, for real, lions, tigers, and bears. Okay, unless there's a really like actually imminent danger right in front of you right now. Okay, then there's no reason to be worried. There's no reason to be worried. Trust yourself. You are intelligent. You are spiritually intelligent as well as mentally intelligent. Okay. I don't care what you think of yourself. You should know that you are spiritually intelligent and mentally intelligent. So you should trust yourself to be able to maneuver, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. If you focus on the light that is in the present moment, look around you right now. I want you all just to look around your room right now. Look around you and look at your current circumstance. I don't want you to see lack. I want you to see abundance. Focus on that. That is the light. If you look around you right now, you will see abundance. I don't care what your circumstances are. I don't care where you are right now. You will see abundance. That is the light that always exists in the present moment. Always. You will see abundance within yourself. You will see abundance around you. And you will see that there's nothing actually wrong right now in this moment. And if there is a lion coming after you, you wouldn't be watching this right now. So I already know. So I already know you have abundance around you right now. Okay. So what is that? I want to hear in the chat. Just type in the chat what abundance you see around you right now. And I want you to really start making this a choice, making this a question that you ask yourself. And like I've told you guys, you know my story. I used to have an anxiety issue, like an actual anxiety disorder for a couple of years when I was going through my all my health issues when I was paralyzed and I had an anxiety disorder, I had depression disorder. So I'm not speaking from a place of not knowing what I'm not knowing how that feels. I'm not speaking of a place from a place of not knowing how it feels to deal with that. Okay, I know how that feels, but focus on the light. Regardless of how it feels, focus on the light. And because you know how it feels, focus on the light. Because no one wants to feel that. You can't tell me, there's not a single person who tells me they want to feel anxious every day. Okay? There's not a single person who wants to feel that because it's not a good feeling. It doesn't feel good. We don't enjoy it. Right? And we tend to like things that we enjoy. So if you, okay, I'm looking at the notes here. Message nature and life I wanted for years. Yes, nature and the life you wanted for years. Absolutely. And then Fal says, all my beautiful furniture and art. Yes. And living in a high rise with a beautiful view. That is wonderful. See, that is abundance. That is abundance. Abundance of space, serenity, and power. Yes, yes. I love all those comments. I love all of that. That's really important for you to be able to see that. And that's something that I had to start doing when I was having all my issues, right? I needed healing and all those other things, right? And I did that, and that's how I'm here today. But without those problems, but when I tell you that when I had a very bad anxiety issue where literally I would be shaking and not able to function, okay, for a period of time, and it was because my nervous system, all kinds of stuff was out of whack. That was due to because I needed healing, and then I healed myself and I'm good. But I've never come back to that again. That was uh that was almost 20, yeah, that was about 20 years ago at this point because we're in 2026. That was 20 years ago. Okay? 20 years ago that I dealt with that. And that I haven't had those issues ever since. Why? Because I got to the root of it. I got to the root of it. I didn't have to learn how to cope in the beginning when I was going through those issues. I went to a psychiatrist, I went to a therapist, I went to other healers, I went to this and that. And at the time, I I didn't go through that many healers because I wasn't into that at that time yet. But I went through a whole lot of things. I went to a neurologist. I went to this and that, right? And what did they give me? They gave me coping mechanisms. But what did I find within myself when I myself went in? That's when I got healing. That's when I got real healing because that's when I turned into myself, stopped looking out here. I turned in here to say, what's going on? And I happen to be a medical intuitive as well. And so I was able to use that gift to be able to see, like, even biologically, what was going on, to really understand it, and then be able to use my energy to fix it, and biokinesis and all that stuff. So when you go within, that's when you get the answers. You can't fix something if you don't understand how it works and what's excuse me, what's happening. Sorry. They got me talking a lot today. All right. So, okay, so Quentin said a family that accepts me my spirituality and will learn. I love that. I love that. And that's key. That is abundance, Quentin. Absolutely. Sorry, my voice is kind of going. Let me fix my throat chakra. Okay. So, yes. that's really that's really really important to have a family that accepts your spirituality, right? Not everyone does. Not everyone does, but if you do, that is definitely a point of abundance. Absolutely. And again, when you're looking at your life, when you're looking at everything around you, it's important that you know, and that I'm sorry, that you don't look at it in lack, because we tend to look at our lives and say, oh, well, this isn't right. That's not right. That's not right. We can always find a problem. Okay. Know that you can always find a problem with your life, but can you find what's good? Can you find the abundance? That's the key, because naturally, as human beings, we are taught to look for lack. And biologically, because we want to avoid pain, we naturally look at lack. So when I say healing, and I've said this before to you guys, when I say healing, real healing, digging deep and removing things is moving against, a lot of times moving against human nature. It is because our human nature keeps us in fear. Our human nature keeps us focusing on the lack. Our human nature keeps us anxious. Our human nature keeps us sad. So this is what we have to this is what we're up against. And that's why I said don't be ashamed of feeling that way. Never feel shame for that, but take action. Take the action. Dig deep. Focus on the light. When you focus on the light, you come back to self, because you are the light and everything around you is light. If you choose to see it. If you choose to see it. Remember, things are not good or bad. They just are. And it's our perception that makes something good or bad. So, knowing that we have the choice and the power of choice on how we see things, that should make you feel empowered. That should give you freedom of your life, freedom back into your life. Because if you understand that your perception shapes your reality and you want your reality to be this certain thing, then what do you need to change? Your perception. Change your perception and you change your life experience. Perception doesn't always change a circumstance. We need a little more than that, but it changes your experience, because you can have a beautiful experience regardless of circumstance. And then you can use your manifestation techniques. You can use all these different things, choices and decisions to change a circumstance, right? But the reality is your perception right now, the happiness that you seek. Let's say this very clearly. I'm going to lean in when I say it. The happiness that you seek is available right now. You don't have to wait until you have this, until this happens, until blah, blah, blah. I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. You don't have to wait for that. It's available right now. All you have to do is change your perception. Let go of the fear. Stop projecting into the future and be in the present right now. Focus on the light. Be the light. And then the light will shine in your life. All right. Message. All right. So so yes, that's the key. That's the key of what you guys need to understand today. And remembering that the whole point here of Mystic Temple and what we're doing is getting you to focus on the light, getting you to not only live, we want not only spiritually awaken and come back to your own divinity, but we're also focused on helping you live a happier life. We are here to live a human experience. That human experience can be a horrible one or it can be a great one. It's up to us. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of our power. But the further you move away from the acknowledgement of that, the more you let life happen to you instead of you happening to life. So today, I want you to happen to your life. I want you to take control over your experience today. I want you to see the light in everything, not just today, but every day after. But start today because all we have is now. And in every moment, start today. And if you observe that you're doing the opposite, bring it back because all we have is the present moment. We're not worried about what we were doing 2 minutes ago. We're worried about what we're doing right now. Okay? That's all you need to be worried about. You don't have to worry about it. That's all you need to be thinking about and focused on. All right. All right, so that's everything they have to say today. So definitely, like I said, if you want to really dive deep into your fear framework and your fear architecture to really understand uh, what's going on and give a really good in-depth rituals and everything else on how to correct that within yourself, definitely join the Pathways to Divine Consciousness and Fulfillment program. I want to remind you guys that Mystic Temple is a nonprofit, and so anything that you if you sign up for that program, all profits and proceeds go to Mystic Temple as a donation. And what we're doing with those donations is helping to spread the word, helping in this global awakening. There's a lot more coming as well. We're doing a lot of things in order to help this global awakening and really wake people up and bring people back to their power and their happiness. This is a goal and a mission of mine and of ours here at Mystic Temple, and this is what we're all about. So definitely support us by joining the program, but support yourself too because you're getting something out of it. Okay, you get happiness out of it. Everyone who's in that program has grown in leaps and bounds, like significantly. It's insane, and it's an ongoing program. So definitely join that. Yes, focus on the light in every moment. Stay in the present. Right. Absolutely. All right, guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at the Channel Wisdom Circle. Bye. Zora Kumti.